This is honestly everything you need to know when it comes to camera tracking, how to use it, how to use camera tracking in After Effects, how to implement camera tracking in After Effects, and how not to run into issues when camera tracking in After Effects. The first thing I'm going to say is when you first open up your project and you have the clip that you want to camera track, which let's say this clip right here. You want to make sure you don't have any other effects on the layer that you are camera tracking. So let's say we're camera tracking this clip right here. We want to make sure we don't have any color corrections on it, anything that will mess with the camera track at all. The second thing is it has to be the size of the composition. It cannot be bigger or smaller. So you see this, the scale of this would have to be would have to be around 50. This will not camera track. No matter if I scale it up or down, it will not camera track. You have to resize it. There is a really good resizer I will link in that Adobe has. You have to sign up for it. It's free though. It's a really good resizer. I resized it right here. So this is 1920 by 1080, which is the size of my composition. I didn't use Adobe with this one, but I just did this really quick, so I used some free thing I found on Google. But Adobe has a really good one. It won't leave any watermarks. Just don't mind that. But that does bring a good point up, is that another thing when camera tracking is there cannot be any big watermarks or big things that get in the way of the clip. Like that is on the clip. So let's say if I was camera tracking something and there was a big block kind of like right here, it would harm the camera track and could not camera track correctly. Another big thing is if there's any cuts in the clip that you were camera tracking. You want to make sure that the clip you are camera tracking is one camera motion. It is not split camera motion. So if you were to have a clip that would, let's say, just use this clip for instance. We have this clip, it zooms in through the city. If the clip were to cut right here to a different city, but also had a steady camera motion, that cannot work. That cannot happen. It will not work. It has to be one continuous camera motion, no cuts. So let's say we're camera tracking this right here. That is the clip we want to camera track. We are going to go up into our effects, grab camera track, 3D camera tracker, and add it. Now this might take a minute. It is going to analyze the background and it is going to put points for you to camera track. One thing you want to have clicked is this, and you want to have the render track points selected, and you also want to make sure you have 3D solved and fixed angle view. If any of these are off these settings, it could give you some weird points or not really camera track correctly. Once camera tracked, you will see all these weird points that'll pop up at corners, edges, flat surfaces on your video. These are your track points. These are your points that are going to help you place objects, text, shapes, anything. We're going to go over text first and how to camera track text. You can see this is our target. You can change the size of this target just over here. Just make it a little smaller so it's easier to see. I'll change the size of these points if you want them smaller, bigger. I usually just have them around here. Let's say you wanted to add a text over here, some text. You can do one of two things. To make it really steady, you could do a circle and it'll get a flat, but it might not make it a flat surface. You see how our camera is kind of pointed this way, or you can just click and that'll be flat enough and easy enough to track. So we'll see what you did there. You just click, right click, create text, and it'll bring this up. You can delete this. This is your camera track. This is the tracked text on there. This is the actual text itself. As you can see, it's tracked. It does look a little weird, so we can fix that. We can go ahead and fix that right here. We can just get this. You can move it around a little bit, and it will still look good. You just don't want to be making any insane messes or changes to the text. Like we can kind of shorten it down. Change it to test. I'm gonna change the font to something a little bit more normal. And that's our text. And if you play the video back, I'm gonna play it in a lower quality so it renders faster. You can see that it is tracked on that side of the building. It's pretty simple. You can mess with it a little bit. You can kind of change what way you want it to lean. Get it to look like it's a little bit more on there, and it really won't change the outcome. It'll still look pretty decent. Also, when you render, these points that you're seeing will not show up in the final render. Just to let you know. So yeah, that's how you track text. Tracking a solid is a little bit different, or an image is a little bit different. A solid or making a shape is pretty simple. It's just like what we just did. You were gonna go to your thing. You're gonna click on your 3D camera tracker, and you're going to click, right click, create a solid. This will create more of just a solid. Now that's your shape. But what we really want to do is maybe add like a picture on the side of there. So to do that, I'm gonna grab a picture real quick. All right, here's a picture we're gonna camera track. We'll just add it to our timeline, and we will go ahead and click on our solid. So to camera track a picture, you need to have a solid. So once we have our solid implement, we're gonna hit P for position. We're gonna go to our picture we want to camera track. We're gonna hit P for position also. Make sure you might have to toggle the modes, and you might have to switch it to this one so it looks more like this. So if yours looks like this, you might want to come here and click this. You're going to click this little square right here, and this will make it a 3D image, okay? You're going to copy the position of this and paste it right there. This will mess with the image a lot. As you can tell, it's kind of doesn't really look right. You're going to want to, from here you're going to have to mess with it a little bit to kind of get it to look correct. Which you might have to make it a little bit bigger. I don't know why mine rotated a little bit. Change the size. Oh my god. Okay, well, something's messed up. I think I made the size a little too big. Change the size. Rotate it a little bit more. You can kind of see it. It'll track under that wall. If you wanted to really steady, you could go with what I showed you earlier. Make sure we're clicked on our camera track, and you could do the circle. I just don't. Sometimes I don't think it really matters. This one it might, since it's a kind of a fast-moving scene. You might have to circle and click, but this is just to show you. One tip I do have, especially when camera tracking, if you want it to look like it's supposed to be there, this obviously isn't supposed to be here, but if you want it to look like maybe a sign or something that's supposed to be there, I recommend you get drop shadow and put it on the picture. It'll kind of make it look like it's, popping, and it's not just chilling. That's kind of the basics to camera tracking text and pictures in After Effects. Alright, now I'm going to go over something a little bit more complicated, and that is getting something in an area that is not, it doesn't have any points. If I wanted to get a picture right here in this, like right here just in this hallway, there's not really any points I can grab onto, kind of like there is over on this wall. We're going to have to do some extra steps to kind of get that to look a little bit normal. The first thing is I would find somewhere that you can kind of, it's hard to explain, but you want some points that you can kind of base your area off of. So if I wanted to, let's say, put some words right in between these two buildings, I'm gonna need kind of an area where the text will kind of be at, and then I'll say around here I want the text to be at, kind of in this middle area between these two cars, kind of in here. So I'm gonna kind of select this area and create a text. This text isn't gonna be normal. It is gonna be it isn't gonna look right just yet. So we're gonna kind of mess with it. I don't know why my sizes are a little big. I think it's because my scale is pretty high. Let's kind of get, there we go. All right, we're gonna kind of make it a little bit bigger. Mess with it a little bit. Fold it up, over. Change it, rotate a little bit. Pull it up. Over a little bit. Front a little bit. Make it a little bit bigger. Kind of move it over a little bit. Change it. It just takes a bunch of messing with. And there we go. And you kind of have that effect that it's in between those two buildings. It'll take a minute to render. I'll render it at a lower quality. It kind of has that effect that it's in between those two buildings. And it looks pretty good. It doesn't really, you know, it doesn't. There you go. That's a little harder to do, especially with a photo or picture. It kind of be hard to do. You do the same steps that we would do before. So you would, you know, put your salad on the floor. You would then add your picture on top of the salad. You'd copy the position, and you pull it up like we just did. That's the basics to camera tracking. If there are any questions, feel free to ask. Camera tracking is kind of a little tedious. There's a lot can go wrong with camera tracking, and a lot of errors that'll come up, and I've been through all those errors. It's took me forever to figure out how to actually get really good at camera tracking and make things look really, really good. If you want an in-depth tutorial on kind of how to make stuff look like it's supposed to be there, like if let's say we wanted a sign, I'll go and I'll make another something on that. But that's pretty much it.